The galaxy was vast, filled with old empires, trade routes, and ancient wars. But among all the stars, one name had always been spoken like a ghost story: humanity. Some aliens whispered that humans once existed long ago, wild creatures from a blue world near a yellow sun. Others said they were nothing more than a myth, a story to scare children. After all, no records existed, no colonies were found, and no living witness had ever seen one. To the galaxy, humans were just shadows of the past. That belief was about to be shattered. The first sign came on the edge of the Velkar system. A Zyari patrol ship, sleek and armed with plasma cannons, caught an unknown signal drifting through the void. At first, they thought it was broken static-hold junk data. But when the crew filtered the sound, a strange voice echoed across their bridge. It was not alien. It was not coded. It was a language forgotten in galactic history. The voice was calm, steady, and chilling. "This is UNSV Dauntless. Identify yourselves or stand down." The Zyari captain froze. His species had cataloged 10,000 worlds. They knew the war cries of the core, the chants of the Valeri, the cold logic of the machine factions. But this voice, this tone, it carried something terrifying: confidence. The patrol sent warnings back to their empire, claiming an unknown warship had entered forbidden space. But by the time reinforcements arrived, the patrol ship was gone. No wreckage, no signal. Only silence. Word spread fast. Some said pirates with stolen technology were behind it. Others whispered the impossible, that the old human stories were real. The High Council of Velkar dismissed the rumors. They laughed at the thought of mythical humans suddenly returning with ships. Yet deep in their archives, an elder remembered. He had studied the forbidden records, the ones kept hidden from common eyes. Those records told of a species born on a violent world, where storms shaped their bones and wars shaped their minds. A species that had once defied the galaxy itself, then vanished without explanation. Now were signs they had returned. Far from Velkar, in the darkness of space, the truth was revealed. Massive ships moved in silent, black as shadows. Armored like beasts of steel, their engines roared, not with plasma, but with something older fusion, raw and deadly. Upon their hulls were painted two words in faded white: United Nations. The galaxy had forgotten them. But humanity had not forgotten the galaxy. The fleet had been silent for centuries, hidden, waiting. When the old empires fought among themselves, when civilizations rose and fell, humans had watched from the dark edges of unexplored space. They had waited, patient as predators. Now they moved. The first true contact happened at the Zarin outpost. The outpost was a massive station built to guard a cluster of trade routes. Thousands of ships passed through every week. No one expected anything unusual that day. Traders docked, guards patrolled, merchants shouted in alien tongues. Life continued as normal till the shadow fell. A ship larger than anything the Zarin had ever seen emerged from warp. It did not match any design in the galactic registry. Its armor looked scarred, burned from battles long past. Its cannons glowed with silent power. Across its hull, strange letters were engraved: Dauntless. The station demanded identification. The ship gave only one response: "This territory once belonged to us. We are here to reclaim what was taken." Panic spread. Some thought it was madness. Others laughed, believing it was only another warlord with stolen technology. Dauntless powered its main cannon. The laughter stopped. In a single strike, the cannon cut through a defense frigate like it was paper. The station's shields failed instantly. The aliens had seen war. They had seen conquest. But they had never seen this. What terrified them most was not the weapons. It was the humans themselves. For the first time in thousands of years, they stepped onto the station. Their suits were heavy, their movements sharp, their eyes cold. The guards aimed their weapons, but hesitation filled them. Something in the humans' gaze made them step back. Rumors spread faster than fire. The word carried from world to world. Humans have returned. Some called them ghosts. Some called them monsters. Some said they were saviors, but all agreed on one thing: nothing would be the same again. In secret meetings, alien leaders argued, could this be true? Could a forgotten species rise from myth and field such ships? Some demanded immediate war to crush the humans before they spread. Others urged caution, remembering the old stories of battles where humans had refused to surrender, no matter the cost. But the humans were not waiting. The Dauntless was only the first. More ships followed, bigger, faster, deadlier. They carried banners of Earth, Luna, and Mars. They carried soldiers who had trained for generations in silence. And behind them was a fleet the galaxy had no idea existed. For centuries, humanity had been silent. Their silence was over. The myth had become real. And the galaxy was about to remember why humans were feared. The galaxy could not believe what it was seeing. First, many thought the attack on Zarin outpost was an isolated strike. But within days, more human ships appeared across different sectors. Some entered silently, watching, scanning. Others struck without warning, crushing defenses that had stood for centuries. The strange part was not their firepower, it was their precision. The humans never wasted a shot, their ships did. Not bombard planets, nor did they slaughter civilians. They struck only at military outposts, shipyards, and supply depots. Every move felt planned, exact, and merciless. Alien fleets tried to respond. The first major clash happened near the twin suns of the Coria system. A coalition of 5 species gathered 30 warships, confident in their numbers. They laughed at the thought of fighting a few old ghost ships. They were sure it would be a quick victory. But when the human fleet emerged from warp, the laughter ended. The Dauntless led the charge, flanked by 2 smaller cruisers. Behind them, a massive carrier appeared, releasing swarms of fighters no alien had ever seen before. These fighters moved like predators, diving and weaving between the larger alien vessels with terrifying speed. The coalition opened fire, their combined cannons lighting up the void. Explosions rippled against the human shields, but the Dauntless did not falter. It pressed forward, firing with brutal accuracy. Each shot found a target. Each strike tore through an enemy hull. Within minutes, the battle was decided. 20 of the 30 alien ships were gone, the rest fleeing in panic. The humans did not chase them. They held position, as if sending a message. We are here, and you cannot stop us. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. Whole civilizations gathered in fear. If the humans were truly back, what did they want? Why now, after so many centuries of silence? In hidden chambers, councils met in emergency sessions. Some demanded negotiations. Others called for a united front to crush humanity before it grew too strong. But fear poisoned their debates. The truth was simple. No one knew how many human ships existed, or where they had been hiding all this time. Meanwhile, aboard the Dauntless, the humans were calm. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the starfield. His crew moved with quiet discipline, no panic, no wasted words. They had trained their entire lives for this moment. Another victory. His first officer whispered. Ward shook his head. Not victory. Reminder, the galaxy has forgotten us. We will remind them. His voice was steady, but in his heart, he carried a heavy truth. Humanity had not returned out of pride or glory or conquest. They had returned because the galaxy had once tried to erase them. Long ago, the empires had united to destroy Earth, believing humans too dangerous to exist. Cities had burned, billions had died, but humanity had survived. They'd fled into the dark, carrying their hatred like fire. And now, after generations of silence, they had come back not for peace, but for vengeance. On distant worlds, alien children whispered new bedtime stories. They spoke of pale-faced soldiers with cold eyes who came from nowhere and struck like storms. They spoke of ships that roared with thunder, tearing apart fleets as if they were toys. The myths were no longer myths. Humanity was real, and it was angry. But not all aliens feared them. In the shadows, some watched with fascination. Old enemies of the Empire saw an opportunity. To them, the humans were not monsters. They were a weapon. If allied, humans could change the balance of power. If unleashed, they could bring down entire empires. And so, secret envoys were sent. Small ships slipped into human-controlled space, carrying messages of alliance. Some begged for mercy. Others offered supplies, weapons, or information. But the humans accepted none of them. They trusted no one. In the cold silence of space, the Dauntless received another signal. This one was not from aliens. It was from another human ship, larger than any seen before. Its name glowed across its hull, HFY Titan. When the two ships met, their captain spoke not in joy, but in grim resolve. "The time has come," said the Titan's commander. "The galaxy will learn the truth." Ward nodded. "Then let us begin." Together. Their fleets moved like shadows spreading across the stars. The humans had been patient for centuries. Their return was not sudden. It was planned. Every strike, every battle, every message, they all led toward something greater. The galaxy thought humans were a myth. Soon they would understand the truth. Humanity had not just survived. Humanity had been waiting. And now, their war was only beginning. The galaxy trembled. Alien councils whispered in fear. Military fleets regrouped in panic, and merchants prayed their trade routes would not cross paths with the humans. Some said the humans had only a handful of ships. Others swore they commanded an endless fleet hidden in the dark. None of it could be confirmed. What was certain was simple. Wherever the humans appeared, order collapsed. But behind the fear, a question haunted everyone. What did the humans want? The answer came in the form of a broadcast. It began suddenly, across thousands of channels. No one knew how the humans hijacked so many networks at once. On worlds scattered across the stars, citizens gathered in the streets as screens lit up. The face of a man appeared, pale skin, dark eyes, his expression sharp as steel. His voice carried in perfect translation. "I am Elias Ward, captain of the Dauntless. For centuries you have spoken of us as myth, as shadows, as a forgotten race. But humanity has not been destroyed. We endured, we rebuilt. And now we return." His words were calm, but every syllable struck like a weapon. "We remember the fire you cast upon our homeworld. We remember the fleets you sent to erase us. You failed. And now you will answer for it." The broadcast ended in silence. Across alien worlds, panic spread. Leaders scrambled, summoning war councils, demanding stronger defenses. But ordinary people, the workers and farmers, felt something different. They saw in Ward's eyes not madness but resolve. The humans had survived impossible odds. To some, it was terrifying. To others, it was inspiring. In hidden corners of the galaxy, oppressed species began to whisper. If humanity could rise again after so much destruction, perhaps they too could. Defy the empires that ruled over them. But the rulers of those empires were not inspired, they were enraged. The Velkar Empire declared war immediately. They assembled their grand fleet 200 ships strong and swore to crush the human pretenders. Their generals promised the galaxy a swift victory. The battle came in the Veros Nebula. The Velkar fleet moved in formation, confident in their numbers and technology. They had hunted pirates, crushed rebellions, and fought rival empires. They believed no handful of humans could stand against them. Then the humans arrived. The Dauntless led once more, but this time it was not alone. The Titan moved beside it, its massive cannons glowing like suns. Around them, more ships emerged, sleek destroyers. Carriers bristling with fighters, frigates with strange designs the Velkar had never seen before. Humanity had not brought a few ships. They had brought a fleet. The nebula lit with war. The Velkar opened fire first, a storm of plasma and missiles filling the void. But the humans moved with terrifying coordination. Their ships cut through the chaos, shields holding strong, weapons answering with brutal precision. Human fighters dove like hawks, tearing apart enemy bombers. The Titan's main cannon roared once, and 3 Velkar cruisers vanished in a single flash. The Velkar fleet fought hard, but they were not ready for this. Humanity had studied them. Every weakness, every tactic, every pattern, they knew it all. The battle lasted less than an hour. Out of 200 Velkar ships, only a handful escaped. The rest were left burning in silence. The galaxy had witnessed something it had not seen in centuries. A myth had crushed an empire's pride. But even as the humans celebrated their victory, Captain Ward stood silent on the dauntless bridge. He knew this was only the beginning. Each battle would bring more enemies. Each victory would unite the galaxy against them. Humanity could not afford to grow arrogant. Still, there was no turning back. In the shadows of the Titan, a council of human commanders gathered. Their maps showed more than just targets. They showed old wounds. Worlds that had betrayed Earth. Empires that had signed the decree of extermination. These were not random strikes. This was vengeance, carefully planned for generations. And yet, there was something more. Ward's eyes lingered on a single mark at the edge of the map, system wrapped in mystery, hidden from most records. It was where the old war had begun, the place where humanity had been betrayed. His voice was quiet, but his officers heard the weight in it. We will go back. We'll finish what was started. Far away, the alien rulers trembled. For the first time in living memory, they faced an enemy they could not understand, an enemy born from fire and silence. Humanity was no longer a story told to frighten children. Humanity was here, and the warships were only the beginning. The galaxy could no longer deny the truth. Humanity had returned, and they were not hiding in shadows anymore. The destruction of the Velkar fleet echoed like thunder across the stars. No one had believed it possible. 200 warships reduced to wreckage in a single battle. The Velkar Empire had ruled its sector for centuries. Now it limped, broken, and humiliated. But fear was stronger than reason. Other empires did not see the Velkar defeat as a warning. They saw it as a challenge. If humanity was not crushed quickly, it would grow stronger. If it grew stronger, it would become unstoppable. So, a new alliance was born. Rivals who once fought each other now sat at the same table, united by desperation. The Zorai, the Valeri, the Core Dominion, and half a dozen lesser powers agreed to set aside their hatred for one purpose only: the destruction of humanity. In a hidden war council deep inside the core stronghold, alien leaders debated, shouted for immediate attack. Others demanded careful traps. It all agreed on one truth: humans were not like any enemy they had ever faced. 1. Gah! Zorai General slammed his clawed hand on the table. They fight with fury. They do not surrender. They strike as if guided by vengeance itself. If we are to win, we must crush their will before it spreads. A core warlord growled in return. Their will cannot be broken. We must burn them from the stars. And so, the Alliance prepared the largest fleet the galaxy had seen in centuries. Nearly 500 ships gathered, armed with the deadliest weapons from every empire. They called it the Cleansing Armada. Its purpose was simply race. Humanity, before their shadow, grew larger, but the humans were not blind. Aboard the UNSV Titan, Captain Elias Ward studied reports of the growing armada. His crew spoke in worried tones, but Ward's eyes were steady. He knew this moment would come. Humanity had been preparing for centuries, and they would not back down now. They will come for us, his first officer whispered. Ward nodded slowly. Then we will be ready. The humans chose their battleground carefully. Instead of meeting the armada head-on, they lured it. They leaked coordinates, allowed fragments of their fleet to be spotted, and planted false trails. The aliens believed they were hunting the humans. In truth, they were walking into a trap. The chosen field was the ruins of a dead system. Once it had been a thriving colony of some forgotten race. Now it was only shattered planets, asteroid belts, and broken stations drifting in silence. A graveyard in space. When the Cleansing Armada entered, their admirals laughed. They believed they had cornered the humans. Ships spread out in formation, Weapons charged, eager for the final strike. Then the shadows moved. From the darkness of the asteroid fields, human warships emerged. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. Hidden carriers unleashed swarms of fighters. Stealth frigates uncloaked and struck from behind. The Titan and the Dauntless led the charge, their cannons roaring like thunder. The Armada had walked into death. The battle that followed shook the stars. Alien fleets unleashed everything they had: plasma storms, gravity bombs, ion cannons. The void lit with fire, explosions tearing apart rock and metal. Yet the humans moved with terrifying precision. Every ship acted as part of a greater whole. Every strike coordinated. For every human ship destroyed, 5 alien vessels fell. The asteroid fields became hunting grounds. Debris of old worlds turned into weapons as humans dragged them into the paths of enemy ships. Their fighters weaved like angry swarms, tearing through capital ships with ruthless efficiency. But the most terrifying part was not the weapons. It was the humans themselves. They fought without hesitation, without fear, even when outnumbered. Even when surrounded, they pressed forward. Their voices echoed over coms with a single message: we do not die quietly. We do not vanish. We endure. Hours passed, and the cleansing armada began to collapse. Alien admirals screamed in disbelief. As their fleets were torn apart, what had begun as a mission of extermination turned into slaughter. Out of 500 ships, barely 50 managed to flee the battlefield. The rest were left behind, shattered and burning in the graveyard system. When the battle ended, the humans stood victorious again. The galaxy had thrown its greatest armada. At the man lost, yet even in victory, Captain Ward's face was grim. He knew what this meant. The galaxy would not stop. They would gather again, stronger, more desperate. Every victory made humanity more feared, but also more hunted. Still, he looked out at the endless stars and felt no regret. "Let them come," he whispered. "We have waited centuries for this." And far away, across the galaxy, ordinary people whispered a new truth. The humans were not just survivors. They were not just myths returned. They were something far more dangerous. They were unbreakable. The galaxy was breaking. The cleansing armada, the greatest fleet assembled in centuries, had been destroyed. What was meant to be humanity's end had instead become their loudest victory. The news spread faster than light, across alien empires. Silence fell in council halls. Generals stared at empty reports, unable to believe the truth. Humanity had not just returned, they had proven themselves unstoppable. But victory brought new danger. The humans had revealed the size of their fleet. Thousands of ships, disciplined and deadly, had stepped into the open. No one could call them a myth any longer.
Ow.
The galaxy saw them clearly, and that meant every empire would prepare for total war. Captain Elias Ward understood this. Aboard the UNSV Titan, he studied star maps lit with red warnings. Enemy fleets were gathering again. Supply lines were being fortified. Whole worlds were turning into military fortresses. "We've woken the galaxy," his first officer said quietly. Ward nodded. "Yes, and they will never let us rest again." But Ward was not afraid. Humanity had not returned only to fight battles. They had a greater purpose, one buried in history, one that no alien truly understood. This war was not only about vengeance, it was about survival. Long ago, when the old empires had declared humanity too dangerous to live, they had unleashed a secret weapon. It was more than just fleets of warships. It was something older, darker, hidden in the outer systems. A weapon designed to burn Earth itself. Humanity had never forgotten that day. Billions had died. Their world had bled. But in the ashes, survivors had stolen fragments of the enemy's secrets. Now, after centuries of silence, humanity was ready to strike back with knowledge stolen from the very empires that tried to erase them. The first sign came in the Orvin system, an alien fortress world armed with a planetary shield said to be indestructible, became the target. No enemy had ever cracked its defenses. The Orvin laughed when they heard humans were coming. They believed their shield would hold. Then the Titan arrived. Instead of firing cannons, the humans unleashed something new. Massive devices carried on frigates were deployed around the planet. The devices pulsed with strange energy, bending. Gravity itself, the shield trembled. Within minutes, the indestructible wall collapsed. Human warships poured fire onto the fortress, striking with fury. The Orvon defense fleet tried to respond, but the battle was already over. The galaxy watched in shock. Humanity had not only returned with old weapons, they had advanced beyond expectation. They had turned the galaxy's stolen secrets against it. The message was clear. There was no fortress safe from them. Across alien empires, panic grew. Citizens whispered that resistance was hopeless. Soldiers feared the next strike. Proud and arrogant began to doubt. How do you fight an enemy that had already survived extermination once? But not everyone feared. In the shadows, rebellion stirred. Oppressed species, long crushed under imperial rule, began to see the humans not as monsters, but as liberators. Secret messages spread. Some said humanity would burn everything. Others said humanity would free those who joined them. No one knew which was true, and still the humans advanced. Ward gathered his commanders in the war room. Star map flickered before them, covered with red-marked targets of past betrayal, he pointed. 2-1 in particular, a system deep in the heart of alien-controlled space. This is where it began, he said. The first strike against Earth, the council world that declared us an enemy. The officers fell silent. Everyone knew the name. Veron Prime, the shining jewel of the old Galactic Council. The place where humanity's death sentence had been. Written, we will go there, Ward continued. His voice was steady, cold. We will remind them of what they tried to erase. And we will show the galaxy what it means to awaken humanity's wrath. The room was quiet. No one objected. One doubted. Every human aboard every ship carried the same memory, same fire. Far across the stars, alien rulers trembled as reports arrived. The humans were not stopping. They were moving straight toward the core, toward the heart of power itself. Some begged for negotiations. Others demanded one final war to wipe the humans out. But deep down, they all knew the truth. Humanity had survived the impossible. And now, nothing could turn them back. The myths were over. The whispers were over. Humanity was no longer a story. They were war, alive and unstoppable. And they were coming for vengeance. The march toward the heart of the galaxy had begun. Humanity's fleets, once hidden in silence, now moved openly like storms across the stars. Systems fell one by one. Not from endless bombardment, but from precise, calculated strikes. Military outposts burned, supply lines collapsed. Fortress worlds surrendered before the fighting even began. But as the humans advanced, the galaxy grew desperate. Who once fought for power now put aside their rivalries. Every empire, every dominion, every republic poured its fleets together into one last effort. It was more than a war, was survival. Humanity reached the council world of Veron Prime. No empire would be safe. In a secret chamber, deep. Inside Veron Prime, alien leaders gathered. The hall was filled with the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Their voices shook with fear and anger. They are a disease, one Valeri shouted. If we allow them to reach us, the council itself will fall. They cannot be bargained with, a core warlord snarled. They want blood, they want vengeance, and they will have it. The council debated for hours, but only one path remained. They would build a final fleet, larger than anything seen before, and meet the humans before they reached Veron. They called it the Wall of Unity. 1,000 ships from every empire gathered to form one line of defense. Meanwhile, aboard the Titan, Captain Elias Ward studied the reports with calm eyes. He knew what was waiting. The humans had destroyed fleets before, but this would be different. 1,000 ships meant more than just firepower, it meant unity. Fear turned into action. His first officer stepped forward. If they unite, we may not break through, we may not survive. Ward's gaze never wavered. We will survive. We were not born in safety. We were born in fire. And fire is what we bring. The fleet moved forward. Every human ship carried the same purpose. They were not fighting for conquest, nor for empire. They were fighting for the memory of Earth, for the billions who had died when the galaxy tried to erase them. Each ship, each soldier carried centuries of fury. The wall of unity waited near the Star of Dravos, its formation stretching like a metal horizon across the void. 1,000 ships bristling with weapons, engines burning bright, alien admirals stood on, their bridges filled with determination and dread. When the humans arrived, the void itself seemed to hold its breath. The Titan led the fleet into view, its scarred hull glowing under the starlight. The Dauntless followed, and behind them came hundreds of human warships, black and silent as shadows. No words were exchanged. No warnings, no negotiations. Sides already knew there was only one path forward. The battle began. The wall of unity unleashed its fury first. 1,000 cannons fired as one, flooding space with plasma, missiles, and beams of light. The storm swallowed the first wave of human ships, explosions, ripping the darkness apart, but the humans pressed forward. Their formation was tight, disciplined, their weapons answering with brutal precision. The Titan's main cannon fired, cutting a hole straight through the enemy line. Swarms of human fighters darted out like blades, weaving through the chaos, tearing apart carriers and bombers before they could strike. The void became fire. For hours, the two sides clashed. Alien fleets fought with desperation, humans with relentless fury. Whole ships were torn in half, burning wreckage drifting into the star's pull. Human destroyers rammed enemy cruisers, detonating in suicide strikes that left both sides shattered. The battle was not just fought with weapons, it was fought with will. And slowly, the will of the humans began to break the wall. Alien formations crumbled. Their unity faltered under the storm. Admirals shouted in panic as their fleets were pushed back, their ships torn apart. For every human ship destroyed, 2 more alien ships fell. The line of defense that was supposed to hold forever began to fracture. On the bridge of the Titan, Ward stood firm, eyes burning with resolve. "This is what they feared," he whispered. "Not our weapons, not our ships. Our will, finally." After endless hours of fire and blood, the wall of unity shattered. The 1,000 ships that had sworn to stop humanity were reduced to wreckage and silence. Only a handful fled into the void, carrying tales of the impossible. The path to Vern Prime was open, but victory came at a cost. Hundreds of human ships were gone, their crews lost. The Titan itself bore scars so deep its hull groaned with every movement. Humanity had won, but even they knew the war was far from over. Ward stood over the star map, watching the galaxy tremble before the next step. Varen Prime was close now, the heart of their enemy. The place where humanity had been condemned to. Death, his voice was steady, cold as steel. "We are almost there. Prepare everything. The galaxy will remember what it tried to bury." And across the stars, alien worlds whispered the same truth in fear and awe. Humanity was not just returning. Humanity was unstoppable. A strange silence spread across the galaxy. The fleets that once ruled the stars were no longer moving. Their war drums had gone quiet. Banners no longer cast shadows on the skies of conquered worlds. One reason stood behind it. All humans, aliens, had mocked the old stories of Earth for centuries. They said humans were a myth, a tale told to scare children, a warning of a violent race that once walked the stars. But when the human warships returned, myths turned into fire. Cities burned, armadas shattered. Empires bent their knees. Now, the galaxy stood at the edge of fear. But fear was not enough to keep every hand from reaching for power. In hidden chambers, leaders whispered. They wanted to undo what humans had done. They wanted to push them back, even if it meant risking everything. A gathering was called. It was the largest meeting of alien rulers in centuries. From insectoid queens to reptilian warlords, from machine minds to shadow beings, they came together. Their faces were different, Their languages clashed, but one thought connected them all. Humans must be stopped before they become unstoppable. In the dark hall of the ancient Concord station, voices rose. Some called for peace, some for war, some for alliances. But none of them truly trusted the other. Every species remembered what the humans had done to their enemies, how quickly they could turn a battlefield into a graveyard then. The voice cut through the noise. It belonged to the Shirathi Prime, a ruler whose empire once stretched across 10 systems before humans shattered it. His voice was cold, sharp like broken metal. "They bleed," he said. "I saw it myself. Their ships burn. Their soldiers fall. They are not gods. They are not untouchable. If we strike together with one hand, we can cut them down." Silence followed. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy listened to hope instead of fear. But even in that silence, no one saw what was already moving among them, because the humans had been watching. They had been listening. Every word, every whisper, every plan had already reached the ears of Earth's fleet commanders. And unlike the fractured empires of the galaxy, humans did not wait for permission to act. They moved like a blade in the dark. And as the leaders planned rebellion, far above their meeting place, in the black of space, shape drifted into position, silent, waiting. A ship cloaked in shadows, carrying weapons older and deadlier than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The humans had not come to talk. They had come to remind the galaxy why myths should never be tested. The galaxy had gone silent. Entire sectors once full of alien chatter now carried only whispers. Stories spread. Like fire, each one darker than the last. Fleets had burned. Empires had fallen. And through it all, the shadow of humanity grew larger. For centuries, aliens had thought humans were only a myth. Story told in quiet bars of starports. A warning passed between smugglers. Do not wake the ghosts of Earth. But the ghosts had awoken, and they had come in ships of fire. Now, on the edge of the last free coalition world, alien leaders gathered. Their fleets were scattered, their armies broken, their courage crushed. The hall smelled of fear. Generals argued, whispered, and at the center, the high speaker of the council asked the question none wanted to hear. Can we stop them? No one answered. They all remembered what had happened to the Zarkon Armada, the largest fleet in history, gone in less than a day. They remembered the screaming transmissions of the Drell Empire as human boarding parties stormed their cities, fighting like demons that felt no fear. One general finally spoke. His voice trembled. We believed they were a myth. That was our mistake. Humanity is no myth. Humanity is the nightmare. At that same moment, far above their world, space began to shift. A ripple cut across the stars. Then came the shadows. Dozens of warships dropped from hyperspace, their black holes cutting through the void like blades. The lead ship bore markings in white. Terran Command. The council chamber fell silent as every screen lit up with a single transmission. A human face appeared. Cold, calm, eyes like fire. You thought we were gone, the voice said. You thought. Wrong. The aliens stared, their last hopes turning to dust. The humans did not ask for surrender. They did not bargain. They did not threaten. Their fleets simply advanced, weapons hot, shields glowing. The aliens understood then, this was not war. This was judgment. Cities burned. Defenses crumbled. The last free coalition world fell in ours. Not days. Not weeks, hours. And when it was over, when the sky was ash and the ground was dust, one truth spread across the galaxy, carved in fire and ruin. Humanity was real. Humanity was unstoppable. The myth had become legend. The legend had become terror. And every species knew, from the smallest traitor to the mightiest emperor, humanity came for you. There was no escape. The galaxy had laughed once, believing humans were only stories. Now, no one laughed, because the warships had come, and they would never leave.